helping TJ.
I'm so excited to see.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to the Torgo Entertainment YouTube channel. Torgo here. Welcome back to another gig log, and welcome back to another wedding.
That area's an oven. Don't go burning that R-wing. Be reasonable, Fox.
I'll be careful.
Good luck.
I'm actually filming this in my backyard just to emphasize the point of how humid and sticky it is out today. And today's wedding, we go to celebrate Tom and Hannah. And I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about this one because it was a wedding wire booking. And it's been kind of a point of conversation over the past couple days about, are wedding wire inquiries fake? Are fake inquiries coming from the knot? And to an extent, I see where people are coming from, you know? You get an inquiry and they ask about, we love your work, we want to see what you have to offer, and you never hear from them again. Most of the fake bookings I've gotten have not been from online, they've actually been text messages. I remember I got some guy wanting to book 3 events or something like that in 3 consecutive weekends, right around this time of the year, actually. I got it back in like March. And the telltale sign is they want to pay for all events or multiple events, and they're going to ask you how much it is, and if it's not enough, they're going to charge you more with a credit card months in advance. I don't take credit cards as a small business owner. That's just something I don't do, but that's kind of a telltale sign. In 2019, I had an inquiry via text message for a hotel that doesn't exist anymore. And they just gave me the address, the street address, when they gave me the information in text message. So I looked it up, saw it was in Horseheads, the old Holiday Inn Express. I called them up and I was like, you guys have a wedding this day? And they said no. In fact, the ownership had changed and they were changing to a Quality Inn instead of a Holiday Inn, and they had no weddings on record at all. So that's where I think fake weddings are. Keep in mind that Wedding Wire clients and the Knot clients can send a message to any vendor they want, but you have the option to send it to multiple vendors at the same time. So, and I know why they do that. Wedding Wire and the Knots do that to try and boost up their figures to make it look like you're getting more bookings and more inquiries than you actually are. It's good if you have a free account, but if you're like me and you pay for Preferred or Pro, I don't know what the names are of the higher, I think Featured's up there too, then it's not so good. But I generally book enough weddings through Wedding Wire and the Knots to make it worth my while, and this is one of them. We actually booked another one for November of this year through Wedding Wire, so take it with a grain of salt, but I get enough through there where it ends up being worth it. But today, we head to Climbing Binds. It's a new venue for me. Let's go to the map and show you where that is. About 45 minutes, 50 minutes away, nothing too crazy. Right in the neck of the woods of a lot of other places we've been. And this one is 8 hours, 2 to 10, 3 DJ setups, ceremony setup, cocktail setup, and reception setup. I had a chance to go there back in early April of this year. Let's go and show you that footage. In a way, I'm glad I have a wedding here because I actually have another wedding here at the end of October, so it'll be nice to have a wedding here so I get a good layout of the place. Here we have the outside, and you can see it's looking a little on the desolate side. This field over here is where the ceremony is going to take place, right by that arbor. There's actually 2 spots on site where they can have ceremony, but when you see the other one, you'll see why they picked that one. Here they have a utility shed. I'll do a little spin right here. That is the entrance from Route 14. There is the pavilion where we will have the reception. Over there is where cocktail hour is going to be, and that's where they can also have ceremonies, but they are building a solar farm, and yeah, not so great for weddings. Here's the inside of the pavilion. This is from behind the bar. This is where I was able to get because they were doing a couple things right there. And they have some space heaters. You can tell this was back in April. A lot of wooden furniture, a lot of heavy furniture. So I don't envy the people that have to set that up and take that down. There are some outlets, but they're only over here. Eventually, they said they were going to run some extension cord through the ceiling to get into the opposite corner, which is where I was going to be, which is a relief because these tables are too high. And we take one more look outside. That's where the solar farm is going to be again. They could have the ceremony here, but the couple opted against it, obviously, because when they visited the site, it was not looking so great. Eventually, it'll be nice, though. So as you can see, we have a lot of work to do outside today, and I'm really hoping the rain holds out. I've had too many problems with rain this year, and I think a lot of you have too. Andy's coming with me on this one, which will be good because they want uplighting, so it's quite a large setup. The totems, the uplighting, 3 setups. We'll get through it. Andy should be here in about 10 minutes. It's about 9:45 right now. I hope you're ready for this one. Let's go.
And I'll keep this explanation of the aerial photographs short because you saw all that footage when I went there a couple months ago. Here's the layout of the whole site. The green star represents where we will be for reception and cocktail hour. Originally, they were going to have that third DJ setup for cocktail hour, but because of the weather, because they had more guests than anticipated, and just for the ease of everything, they decided to have cocktail hour in the same pavilion as the reception. It's also where the bar is, so it makes sense. And the ceremony is located where this green triangle is. Obvious load-ins are obvious. We can just drive right up to both, set everything up, and we are good to go. As much rain as we have had this summer, this ended up a beautiful day. A hot day, but a beautiful day. Not really any rain clouds in the sky. Here's the inside of the pavilion. I'll show you the reception layout first. Quite a large number of people, about 175 people at this wedding, which is more than they had anticipated out the gate. And here is the reception setup proper. Let's take a little rundown of everything we have. Let's start over here with the Manfrotto tripod for my camera. Here we have the Focus Spot 3Z moving heads on top of my totems, my pre-wired totems. The ADJ Element Hex Par at the bottom to serve as a receiver for that wireless signal so I can control all my lights wirelessly with my tablet. We have the ADJ CSL 100 light-up speaker stand, some white scrim on top of that. The QSCK 10.2 tops for speakers. And my Dragon Frontboards facade, the Ritmo pattern. This is a very tall table. My stuff is never peeking up over the top. But it is what it is. And the Electro Voice EV200 or ESL 200 18-inch subwoofer, excuse me. My iPad, which has the ADJ Airstream DMX program on it. Here we have the other speaker, obviously, the other totem. Let's walk through and show you behind. Look how tall this table is. This is unreal. We have my Allendale Defenders, both of them hiding some cords. We have my anti-fatigue mat. There's some house gear that they kind of store underneath this table. Look at that garbage. Mackie is crap. I don't care what anybody says. The Pioneer DDJ SX2 controller, running my music off my Samsung laptop, the Odyssey notebook, my SanDisk 2TB hard drive with all the music, a flash stick for ceremony, my Logitech trackball mouse. Over here we have my Audio-Technica MX50 headphones, which are not the real names, I forget what they're actually called, the Airstream DMX bridge router, my water bottle, actually I think that might be Andy's, no that's mine, some gaff tape. We have my microphone. We have the SLX microphone in here and the ULX outside. The PowerBar 65 to give some additional power supplies. This is a magnetic table, actually. A Shure SLXD receiver. The remotes for the power bars. And check this out. It was so muddy outside. I know it was a nice day. They didn't even mow here. This was just like swamplands. Avoid this. Just a circle of unmowed grass. And I meant the UB12 hex bars, I'm sorry. There's Andy as we finished up setting up for the ceremony. It's my car right there, so we just walked it over. We didn't even really need the cart for anything here, and the grass was pretty dry over here. We have all the pews, and we're set up here in the back. We have my X stand, we have my mic rack, the Furman power conditioner, the Shure ULXD microphone receivers, my Samsung Chromebook. That stick has the music on it, my Yamaha mixer, and everything runs off this battery right here. The Yeti 1000, one speaker stand with black scrim, and my Bose S1 Pro speaker. I got a lot of compliments on this speaker during the ceremony. Normally, I don't hear much at all about what gear I'm using, but somebody knows that those things are great.
What are these serving?
Those speakers are awesome. The best.
You like that you said that?
They're the best.
And let's head up the aisle with these flowers that loved falling over even with a light breeze. And we put black microphone covers on these microphones to try to make them as inconspicuous as possible. We have two ULXD microphones, one on each side of the stands. They're hidden behind the arbor. They're out of the way. Everything's good. We have the stands on some decent footing. There's some dirt over there. So we only have time for one more thing, and you know what that is. Time to level up!
I've had worse green rooms. let's go. So it's about 20 after 2 right now. Everything's pushed back a half hour because we are waiting on a busload of people from the Best Western. Hasn't shown up yet. Bree, the event coordinator here, has decided at 2:30, like, you know what, with or without him, we're starting. So we're just kind of waiting for that to get going at 2:30. Look at all these drunks.
Hell yeah.
The power vested in me as a licensed minister in the state of New York. I now pronounce you husband and wife. Thomas, you may kiss the bride. Kiss the bride. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom and Hannah Stuckey.
But before we introduce them, we have to introduce our entire wedding party. This might take a while, so give me a minute. So please welcome maid of honor Becky Carter, served by best man and father of the groom, Jim Steiner, everybody. Your newlyweds, Mr. and Mrs. Steiner. Give it up for everybody. Give a round of applause, everyone. You didn't even need the clinking of the glasses or anything. Tom's like, I got this under control, don't you worry. people. This is also a love song.
Left foot, let's up. Freeze!
Before we head out of here, I want to hear one more huge round of applause for your newlyweds, Tom and Hannah, Mr. and Mrs. Stein. Give it up for them one last time.
And we're back. The afternoon after. Car is unloaded, everything's taken care of. I still have to recharge the uplighting and a bunch of other things. But overall, that wedding went pretty well. The biggest obstacle I had to overcome with this wedding is the fact that it lasted 8 hours. I don't care how good of a DJ you are, an 8-hour set is very long. Now, the longest wedding I ever did, I don't have any footage of because it was back in 2014, was an 11-hour behemoth, and that was just way too long. They danced the entire time, but at that point, it's just excess for the sake of excess. So let's couple an 8-hour runtime with one of the hottest, nicest days we've had all year, about 90 degrees for most of the afternoon, buses loading people out at 8:30 and 9:30 and 10:30, 3 different buses, and very few people stay for that 10:30 bus. And you're left with some hurdles to overcome, but we did just fine. The focal point, the most popular thing at that wedding was actually the bonfire they had on the side of the building. A lot of people, a lot of smoking, which is fine, and I'm happy it was, over there so there wasn't smoke coming into my area. I've done a few weddings many years ago that had a bonfire or people smoking right by the DJ booth, and that is always a disaster because it makes your equipment stink, and that carries over into future events if you don't air it out properly. So I definitely try to avoid that wherever possible. And for having very little musical guidance going into this wedding, I think I pulled it off pretty well. The crowd was a little bit older than I was anticipating, and it was definitely a lot less rambunctious than they made themselves out to be. During dinner, a lot of people are hooting and hollering about how much they wanted to dance, but then I was playing a bunch of dance music and they were like, we're tired. It's too hot. We need to go to the bar. And again, I chalk that up to the fact that it was an 8-hour event. They really should have narrowed it down an hour or two, and that really would have helped things out. But I had people on the dance floor the entire time. It wasn't a packed dance floor because it was also a large dance floor, but we had at least a dozen or so people there the entire night, which is more than you can ask for in most cases. It was so hot in there that the venue actually asked me, we have this giant fan, can we plug it into your system? Because as it turns out, this venue that they have, they didn't put any outlets on any of the walls. And I was a little concerned about the power draw of the fan, but after checking some things, it ended up being okay, so that just kind of sat in front next to the subwoofer, so occasionally you'll see people, coming up and airing themselves out directly in front of the camera because that's where they happen to put the fan.
I'm gonna slow down for this next one to give some people wanted another slow song, some people just need to cool off. Yes. Whatever the case may be. I'm filming this whole thing, right?
Oh!
Stuff films for sale available after the wedding.
But Tom and Hannah had a great time, the families had a great time, the guests were having a blast. Andy actually knew quite a few people at this wedding, as it turns out. He used to bartend many years ago, so he knew a couple people on the Market Street scene in Corning, and a lot of them were there. And there were a bunch of people from Corning Incorporated. But there were a bunch of people there that knew who we were, and they were pleased. So that's what matters, and everybody had a good time. A playlist will be at the tail end of this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Next video is gonna be a little weird because I haven't really mentioned this during any point of the video, but that was not the only wedding we had on August 28th of this year. There was another wedding. I'm gonna tell you the story behind that, why I didn't do it, why I had to pass it off, and I have a little bit of footage. I had a spy on the inside getting me some video of that other wedding in Binghamton. But I'm Torgo with Torgo Entertainment, and I will see you at the next gig, or previous gig, as the case may be. Take care. I don't know how apparent this is, but look how tall this table is. Like, you have to like really reach. This is not good height for arms for typing on the keyboard. It's just not very ergonomic.